morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, out of Voice of Radio. So today we've got new cards to talk about from Glory of Team Rocket. There was a live stream today, and on that live stream they got to the end and they were like, hey, do you want to see a new Drowzee? Maybe a new Hypno? And I'm like, yeah, mate, let's see a new Drowzee and a new Hypno. And they are, of course, Team Rocket cards. They are from Glory of Team Rocket, but they are specifically Team Rocket cards. Are they any good? Let's take a gander. Well, Drowzee to start off with, I'm going to be honest, Drowzee isn't great. Firstly, we've got 80 HP, and 80 HP is a weird one, right? Because on the one hand, you look at 80 HP and you go, well, you know what? Bit more survivability, that sounds good. And on the one hand, that's true. But then on the other hand, we're talking about a card that now can't be searched with Buddy Buddy Poffin. And we want to search with Buddy Buddy Poffin. So, yeah. 78 HP is the real golden number right now. Because it's got more than 60, but it's still searchable with Buddy Buddy Poffin. Of course, maybe we don't even need to worry about this. Because let's not forget we got the, I think it's fair to say, rather ridiculous new supporter card coming, which is going to be Team Rocket's Proton, which is Pokemon Collector, but for Team Rocket Pokemon. You search for 3 basic Team Rocket's Pokemon, and then put them into your hand. And actually, it can even be used on your first turn going first, which of course is very, very important, and we talked about this before. The fact that actually Pokemon Collector doesn't have that line of text, but it didn't need it, because back then, we actually could just use supporter cards going first anyway. So, make no mistake about it, this is kind of a pretty big deal. This is a very cool card. That's going to get your basics out. So the 80 HP is annoying, but not the end of the world, because we do have Proton as well. Okay. And then the attack is single energy, 10 damage plus sleep. It's fine. It's not good. It's not amazing. But, I mean, it's at least a single energy attack on a basic Pokemon. And you might buy yourself a little bit of time with this. I'm not going to sit here and try and convince you that 10 damage plus sleep for a single energy is broken, but I am going to tell you it's at least not completely terrible. There'll be games you use it. What we really want to use here is Hypno, and we're seeing a little bit of a theme here with Team Rocket's Pokemon, and that is the good attack uses free energy, despite the fact that we're literally, like, building around this Team Rocket's energy, which is a double Psychic / Darkness energy. We saw this with Moltres there the other day, and we've seen it with a bunch of cards. Mewtwo again. Basically, hey, we got this special energy card, which provides 2 energy. Cool. Here's a really good attack that needs 3. Why? Never mind. Because what it does is actually really good. What happens is that your opponent flips a coin for every one of their bench Pokemon. And for each Tails, they take 80 damage on their active Pokemon. This can add up very, very quickly. Now, here's one thing we need to bear in mind about this attack. Super unreliable. Really unreliable, okay? We all right with this? Excellent. Because here's the thing, right? If your opponent's got 5 bench Pokemon, and you only go for the bench Pokemon, just to be clear, you don't flip for the active. But if your opponent's got 5 bench Pokemon, then all of a sudden, you could be doing 400 damage. Will you be doing 400 damage? Probably not, if I'm honest with you. But you could. 80 damage times 5 is 400. And let's not forget that we've still got Area 0 Underdepths in the format right now. And that can have up to 8 bench Pokemon, which means up to 640 damage. And I'm sure by now you're realizing we don't need to do 640 damage. 640 damage is way more than we'll ever need to do. Honestly, most of the time, 4 heads will be fine. 4 heads will be 320, and that's a KO. Here's the biggest issue with this. Well, no, there's 2 big issues. Firstly, there's a whole coin flipping thing. It is inherently a flippy attack. And look, flipping up to 8 coins, doing 80 damage for each head's clearly brilliant. But then by the other token, your opponent can maybe play around this. They can maybe get around this a little bit. And this is where it gets a little bit awkward. And the answer is, it depends on the deck and it depends on the playstyle and all of that. Because your opponent can keep their bench small. And the fewer Pokemon they have on their bench, the less damage you're going to be able to do. And it's flippy anyway. So the question essentially then becomes, well, alright then, are there going to be enough decks out there with enough bench Pokemon down to make this viable? And the answer is quite possibly yeah. Because right now, the most successful deck at City Leagues, for instance, is Raging Bolt. Well, Raging Bolt is a deck that really relies on having like a Raging Bolt, and then they probably need a backup Raging Bolt, and they're probably going to need a couple of Teal Mask Ogapon chilling to help out of a draw engine, and then they may well need Squawkabilly to help them set up in the early game. And all of these are potentially an extra 80 damage, and they can not have a backup Raging Bolt, but that's not a great idea. And they can skimp a bit on the Teal Mask Ogapon, but really? Is that the best plan? I'm going to suggest probably not. And you only need 3 heads to get a clean 1-hit KO on a Raging Bolt here. 8, 16, 24, boom, job's a good one. So that's going to kind of help quite a bit. Second biggest deck in Japan right now is Dragapult. But the whole point of Dragapult is you're kind of trying to get a bunch of Dracloak out in order to give that Recon Directive draw engine and then evolve up in, one into Dragapult while leaving the rest as Dracloak. And sure, they can just restrict their bench, but that's going to end up helping you quite a bit in the long run. Third biggest deck in the game right now is Gardevoir. But that's a deck that generally wants to go a little bit wide at times, although not quite so much with the loss of a good Curlier, but still. Fourth biggest deck right now is Golden Go, but Golden Go's got the draw engine built in, inherent in the Golden Go. And this is kind of my point. The fewer Golden Go your opponent gets out, the less draw power they've got. That's good for you. The less Dracloak your opponent gets out, the less draw power, the more good for you. The less Teal Mask Ogapon your opponent gets out, the less draw power, the less consistent they're going to be. And there are quite a few decks around right now that do go kind of wide. And if they do go kind of wide, this could be good. Yes, your opponent can restrict their bench to make it more awkward. Yes, it is a bit flippy. I know all of this, but I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, you can't just restrict your bench forever, and you flip enough heads here, you're KOing literally anything. I kind of love this. Although, just to be clear, I don't think I've said this yet, you don't apply weakness or resistance. The lack of weakness is a bit of a pain, but it's not the end of the world. Yes, I know there's an attack to single energy 40. Yes, I know we haven't talked about it. There's a very good reason. I am not evolving up to my stage 1 to do single energy 40. That's terrible. But the other attack, it's flippy and it ain't always going to work. But when it works, it sounds amazing. So let's go and give it between 3 and 4 Wassies. We don't give half Wassies. That would be barbaric. This sounds like a lot of fun. And I know it sounds gimmicky, and it is gimmicky, I grant you. But I'm just saying, with all the support we've got right now, this could be kind of interesting. Just putting that one out there. Right, that's what you need to know, ladies and gentlemen. So now it's over to you guys. Tell me what you think about this. Do you think it's going to work, or is it too gimmicky? Let me know in the comment section. Got us! Be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at @LeWassy. That's where we talk about Pokemon and a whole bunch of other card games. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all kinds of fun things. and get shout-outs on the channel like the lovely It's a Coaster, who's been a supporter of ours for a while now and is a very lovely person, so shout out to them for the support and the loveliness. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.